All right. Good morning. This is Nicole Whitlock with eCom Sellers, and this is the weekly ecom planning session. Normally, we do the daily ecom planning session, but this is the weekly ecom planning session where we talk about a tip for the day or for the week. And in this instance, because we're right on top of Black Friday, today's topic is going to be 5 last minute sourcing methods for Black Friday. If you're still wanting to take advantage, if you're an e-commerce seller and you want to get into the game, this is what we're going to be covering today, along with our weekly ecom planning session. So before we get into the 5 last minute sourcing methods that you can take advantage of right now, I want to encourage you to go download the weekly ecom planning checklist so that after we go through the list, we can now transition over and start planning our week for next week. So you can download the weekly ecom planning checklist by going over to the eCommerce planning Facebook group. Again, eCommerce planning Facebook group, and download the weekly planning checklist. You can also download the daily and the monthly there as well. So you'll click on the files section, download it there, and then you'll be able to follow along as we get ready to go through the list. We are live on Clubhouse. We're also live on the e-commerce planning Facebook group. So I wanted you to know where we are so that we can talk about your business after we go through the 5 last minute methods and also after we go through the daily ecom planning checklist. So again, my name is Nicole Whitlock. I'm with eCom Sellers, and my passion is helping people on their e-commerce journey, helping them to get focused, get organized, get consistent in their business. And if that's you, you'll be able to schedule a free 20-minute coaching session with me. So let's get into the 5 last minute or quick sourcing methods for Black Friday if you have not put together your game plan. The first one is one of the, I would say, the easiest and the fastest. And when I say easiest, I guess maybe the most simple. It's not necessarily easy. It's going to require work. All of them require work. It's arbitrage. Going and doing some retail and online arbitrage like this weekend, today, Saturday, this chilly Saturday morning, and using like flyers from the different stores that are out there, retail stores, sorry, or using the online arbitrage. The great thing about arbitrage is that like you could place your orders today and do the pickup. So that way you don't even have to go in the store if you don't want to. If you have access to a lot of stores in your area, it makes it a whole lot easier. Again, you can go through and place your orders online. You can look at their flyers now to see what kind of deals and offers they're going to be putting out there. And the great thing about arbitrage is that, again, the inventory is readily available. It's right there for you. So it's not like you have to wait for it to be shipped in or any of that. Now you are going to have to get it to your customer, however you do that. And I wouldn't let that stop me because of the fact that the busiest shopping days are yet to come. There are the top 10 busiest shopping days of the year. 9 of them are about to happen. So between Thanksgiving and the end of the year, 9 of the busiest shopping days are happening right then. So even if you want to go do some arbitrage and then ship that into the Amazon warehouse, and you have to be prepared to allow them up to 2 weeks, you're still going to hit at least 5, if not 6, of the busiest shopping days, even after they take potentially up to 2 weeks to check in your inventory. So I want you to keep that in mind, that arbitrage is a quick way for you to get your hands on some inventory. If you don't want to handle it, go get it and then ship it into Amazon warehouse or ship it into a Walmart. If you're selling on Walmart, WFS, send it into their warehouses or deliver, whatever place you want to you do. Or if you're prepared to handle it over the next couple of weeks, fantastic. But arbitrage, it is like getting your hands on inventory right now and you don't have to wait. So go look at the flyers, do some Google searches on hot toys, hot holiday products, gifts for her, gifts for him. Go do that Google search so that you can get your shoes on, get your coat on, and depending on where you are in the US, because it's chilly here. And this is Texas. We're normally not chilly. But go out there and hit the stores or shop online and get going right now. Number 2 is your local wholesale suppliers or local distribution centers. So I'm in the Dallas Fort Worth area. I know that I can drive about an hour and maybe an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half, and get to the Dollar Tree distribution center. So I don't have to clean out the inventory of all my Dollar Tree stores. And at the distribution center, you're probably going to gain access to a bunch of cool stuff that's going to be available to sell like in January and February. You can gain access to it now. So if you're within driving distance or of any wholesale suppliers, I'm lucky because I have a boatload of them that I can just roll up to. You just need to do a Google search in your area to find out where your warehouse district is or find out where your wholesale suppliers are. And most of them will have an open to the public, which means you can get in your car, drive in there, buy a bunch of different inventory, and then use that to flip on different platforms, depending on which platform you sell on. So you can go gain access to some inventory today. Again, it's going to require you to get moving. You got to get your coat on and get out there today. So good. Make sure your phone is fully charged so that way, as you're scanning products to see what they will sell for, you have some products in mind. So take that time to invest in either one, local distribution center. Like if you're near Houston, I know that there's a 99-cent store distribution center that has a whole open to the public as well. So again, great places to be able to grab some inventory at deep, low prices. Also, don't overlook like the discount stores like Ollie's and which they're more in the arbitrage side, but Ollie's and like places like Dirt Cheap, which is one of the names of our stores in our area. Again, they get a bunch of inventory. It's not very organized in there. You probably want to wear a pair of gloves, but you can gain access to a bunch of inventory you can buy in bulk. And sometimes you can negotiate the prices for some of that stuff. Number 3 is your local liquidation center, suppliers. Right now, there is a bunch of inventory in the liquidation space, a bunch. You can get pallets galore. So if you got a truck, take your truck today. But if you are within an hour to 2 hours driving distance of any liquidation center, you need to get in the car and go. Again, most of them will have an open to the public kind of place where you can go in and you can do some shopping. It's not going to be organized the way that you like to see it, but they have a lot of inventory. And when I talk about inventory, we have been talking for the last 3 to 6 months about the inventory that Target and Kohl's and JCPenney's has rejected from their typical suppliers because, again, cash flow has been tight. So that inventory has to go somewhere because it was produced, manufactured, created, whatever, shipped across the ocean. And if they reject it, then somebody's got to come and get those containers. And so liquidators are right there swooping up that inventory. So you might find some amazing products that are like Best Buy products, Home Depot products, Target products that you can get at a deep, deep discount at your local liquidators. You're also going to get some stuff that's returns, like Walmart returns are ridiculous. And what I mean by that is, I could go and buy a shower rod and then return it back to Walmart and say, oh, it was not the color that I wanted. It's still in the package. It hadn't even been opened. Nothing is wrong with it. And they will send it into their, selling it over to sellers or to the liquidation place so that they can resell it. So the point is you can get some brand new stuff from Walmart, which is crazy. But if you have access to local liquidators, get in the car and go, or do some Google searches in your area. If it's within 2 hours, I say you drive today. Take a truck. Number 4 is thrifting, flea markets, your local swap meet, your secondhand shops. There's a lot of resale shops that are getting stuff that have picked up some great inventory. Thrifting is always a great way to go grab some deals. And again, sometimes you can buy stuff for 50 cents and turn around and flip it. I've seen people flip stuff for up to $200 and getting it for 50 cents. So if you got access to a flea market, put your coat on, go out there, go take a look. Well, I don't know if it's indoor or outdoor. Our flea markets, most of them are outdoor. So if you got access to a local swap meet, again, indoor or outdoor, you just need to go and you can probably find some great inventory to be able to flip. And then number 5 is print on demand. Print on demand is one of the fastest and easiest ways to get going when it comes to Black Friday sourcing methods. So what I like about print on demand is that the print on demand suppliers are going to tell you what their shipping times currently are. They're going to give you a heads up on their supply. Now, that is of all of them that you have control over, meaning you go and you gain access and you have the inventory in hand. Print on demand, you won't have it in hand. So whatever happens there, if they are slow to ship for whatever reason, if let's say they were printing, I don't know, pillowcases and they ran out and they got to wait for some supply to come in, that could impact what your customer perceives as delays. So of the four, of the five that I've mentioned, the fifth one, print on demand, is the only one that you really have to be mindful of what the potential shipping times are going to be for your customers, so that way you can manage their expectations and not have a bunch of canceled orders and or requests for returns. So pay attention to what the print on demand suppliers are saying and use that as an opportunity. So the great thing about print on demand, you can create a design, upload it, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy or elaborate, and upload it to the print on demand sites and be able to, have products to be able to sell immediately for this Black Friday. So there's so many other methods, but I just kind of gave you some quick ones. I will say of the first one that I mentioned, or the second one, sorry, going to distribution centers, what I like about that one, or going to wholesale suppliers, is that it'll also help you with some quick bundling ideas, which can increase your average order value or increase your profit margins. So again, being able to put your hands on inventory, put together pieces or two of things or four of things, or creating your own unique thing that you're going to list on different platforms is always a great way to make some quick money. So use any of these five. If you're looking for inventory, there's inventory out there. You just have to put in some work. And then once you put in the work, you need to get it listed immediately. Make sure you optimize your listings. So if you have not listened to all of our prior segments, we had a segment yesterday, which was, I can't remember what it was, I was 8 tips for Black Friday. We also went through part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4 of Black Friday prep. So again, we've covered a lot. Go back and listen to those segments so that you can take advantage of all of the knowledge and use that today to help you in your e-commerce journey. So I hope this is a blessing. Please share this out with others. Let them know about this series that we're going through for helping you get ready for Black Friday last minute and in advance. And with that, we do invite you to turn up the dial on your e-commerce business and get laser focused with your 2023 eCom Planner. The 2023 eCom Planner is out there. It's available, so you can go and purchase it today. It is the ultimate e-commerce planner. You can go to myecomplanner.com, again, myecomplanner.com, to go and grab the 2023 eCom Planner. Use it to change your business for 2023 and help you to get laser focused. You can schedule a free 20-minute coaching session by going to ecomsellers.com, clicking on free resources, and scheduling your free 20-minute coaching session. Again, going to ecomsellers.com right now. In addition to that, if you want some support on your e-commerce journey, you're welcome to join eCom Sellers Academy. And it's specifically created for sellers who need some support. It is terribly affordable. It's $17.99 a month. You gain access to different lists every single week. In addition to that, you gain access to our live weekly training sessions. You can sign up for the lifetime. It's a one-time fee, and you'll get a free 2023 eCom Planner. So with that, we are ready to go through the weekly eCom planning checklist. This is your opportunity to go download the checklist if you didn't do it before. You just need to go over to the e-commerce planning Facebook group, click on the files section, and download the weekly eCom planning checklist. Afterwards, after we go through the checklist, let's talk about your business. Let's talk about where you are in your journey. Let's talk about what's happening in your business. Let's do your accountability check-in, what your plans are for the day. So let's have a conversation. We'll have that over on Clubhouse. All you have to do is join the eCom Sellers Club. Jump into today's session so that way we can talk about your business. Now, let me just say this. You hear my son in the background. I can't control him right now. He woke up and he is all over the place. I have an autistic son, for those who don't know. And so he's a little hyper right now. So I don't know what's happening. But I'm going to keep going because he seems to be okay. He's been given his list of chores. And so he's a little, I don't know, maybe trying to get some stuff done. He talks to himself. So hopefully he will calm down here in a minute and we'll continue going. So let's go ahead and go through the weekly ecom planning checklist. If you don't have a notebook, go grab one, or If you have access to your computer, go pull it up so that we can go into, I love using Google Sheets. That's the easiest way to build out your template. So let's build out a schedule for next week with understanding that next week is Thanksgiving. So this might be a little bit of a different weekly planning session because of the fact that we're trying to potentially incorporate or plan for Thanksgiving. So this is not going to be the typical weekly ecom planning session that we normally do. If you want to participate in the regular one, you can go back and listen to some of the other recordings. I am going to, because we're in the US, we're going to focus 100% on what are the things you can do strategically to help you build an effective schedule for the week of Thanksgiving, while simultaneously taking advantage of opportunities to be able to sell your products for Black Friday through Cyber Monday. And Saturday is Small Business Saturday. So then all of the above. All right. So with that, let's go through this process and see how much of this we can knock out. So again, this is not going to be our normal process, but the first part of it, I'm going to start it off as the normal process. And then we're kind of going to segue and focus on Thanksgiving. There are a couple of things that I recommend. One, if you don't have the My eCom Planner, like the My eCom Planner, you can go in and build out your schedule for next week for every single day. It makes it a whole lot easier to be able to just check things off or mark things through your list so that way you know that you sort of focused and accomplished the things that you wanted to get done on your agenda for the week. The other thing is, again, if you don't have a My eCom Planner, you can grab your notebook or you can use Google Sheets. So I like Google Sheets. If you don't know how to get to them, you just log into your Gmail account. I think they're all this suite of Google products. Like my business uses them 1000% all the time because the majority of them are free. So I love that. So the first thing is if you have a Gmail account, on the right-hand side, if you will click on what I call the Rubik's Cube or the 9 dots next to your initials on the upper right-hand side, you click on that, you will see an option for Drive, and it will be a triangle that's like red, yellow, orange. Go ahead and click on that, and it's going to open up Google Drive from your Gmail account. Once you click on the little Drive triangle, then you're going to see on the left-hand side, upper left-hand side, it's going to bring you into the Google Drive, and you're going to click on the plus sign. Once you click on the plus sign in the upper left-hand side, you're going to choose Sheets. It's green. It looks like Excel if you've ever used Microsoft Excel. And so it is Google's version of Microsoft Excel. It doesn't have 100% of all the features, but it does have some of the features. So it's free, and then you'll be able to access it anytime. So once you open up the Google Sheets, now we're ready to get started. We're going to do two things. One, we're going to do a brain dump. The other thing is we're actually going to just build the schedule. The reason why normally we would build the template instead of building the schedule and then use the template to drive what it is that we're going to do is because we're just right there, right on top of Black Friday. We're so right there. So again, if you want to go through and build the template first and then use that as the baseline for building out your schedule, that's fine as well. But I feel like we're right there. So let's just go ahead and build out a schedule. When I say right there, we're right on top of Black Friday, like, less than 6 days away. So the first thing is we're going to do a brain dump. We're going to do a brain dump a little different than we normally do. We're going to do a brain dump of things that we know we want to or need to get done next week. Okay, so I'm going to start with some of the basics. And this is the one thing that you will see that's different about me. I believe that you need to incorporate what's happening in your life into your daily schedule. Not just build a schedule that's just for your business, but build a schedule that is for your life. It's more realistic, it's more attainable, it's more manageable, it's more doable if you do it that way. If you focus 100% just on, like things that are 100% your business, and then things don't go right in a day. Let's say it takes you 3 times longer to do something in your business. Now you've bleeded into other time throughout the day. So there's some things that happen in your life. We want to incorporate those things into this brain dump. So over the next 6 days, 7 days, 8 days, 9 days, I really want you to maybe go think about the next 9 days. What are the things that you know that you're definitely going to be doing? We're just doing a brain dump, and we're going to create a list going down vertically. So, what are the things that you currently do? Are you planning on maybe doing some walking? Because maybe that's part of your current regular routine. We're not trying to break any regular routines. So, do you walk every morning? Do you get up? You read your Bible every single morning? Do you exercise every single morning? Is there a meditation moment that you have every single morning? Let's incorporate that into this brain dump. We're just doing a brain dump of things. I'm not saying this is something you're going to do every single day over the next 9 days. I'm just saying this is something that you want to still incorporate so that you can balance your sanity over the next 9 days. So start doing your brain dump. What are things that you're definitely going to be doing over the next 9 days? So cooking, we all know probably there's going to be some cooking, maybe for some of you, or maybe some of you said, I can make way more money, because if you're going to spend 8 hours in the kitchen, let's just do the math here. If I'm spending 8 hours in the kitchen, what if I took those 8 hours and I invested those into my business? How much potentially more money could I make this Black Friday and Cyber Monday if I invested those 8 hours into my business? So if 8 hours in your business could potentially yield you $5,000 or $10,000, then maybe 8 hours in the kitchen, even though it builds memories, even though it's a fun thing to do, maybe with your kids or with your family members, even though, it is a wonderful thing because people love your food. I think an extra $5,000 or $10,000 in your pocket might be worth more than that 8 hours. Now, some people will say the opposite. No, no, no. Those are memories I'll never be able to get back again. I get it. So you have to decide. For me, I am going to be cooking over the next 5 days. I am going to cook. I was going to place an order for food. And so you still have the opportunity maybe to go ahead and place your order with a restaurant or with a grocery store. So you can just go buy that meal and continue to focus on your business for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Just an idea. But anyway, what are other things that are going to be happening? Do you have family members coming in, or are you planning on getting on the road and going to somebody else's house? Okay. So what are the things? Think about your life. Are your kids home from school? You got to think about that. Do you have activities for them to do? So let's talk about just a brain dump of things that are happening. 1, the kids are going to be home. 2, I've got to cook because relatives are coming in. 3, I got to get shipments out. 4, I got to go through and just do a brain dump. We're going to organize the brain dump in a minute. I just need you to do the brain dump. So things to consider in this brain dump. Let's just talk about it. Sourcing. Are you going to be doing that last minute sourcing that we just talked about? If you're going to be doing some last minute sourcing, you got to have some time, some windows where you're going to have dedicated, committed time that you're going to say, this is my sourcing window, whatever that looks like. So maybe you say, okay, I'm going to commit to sourcing for 3 hours on Saturday and 4 hours on Sunday. And I'm going to do 2 hours Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it happens to be. I have no idea where you live. I have no idea what's available to you from a driving standpoint or what you have access to online. So how much time are you willing to do research, which is a whole separate one. So let's talk about sourcing. What is your plan for sourcing? So if you're planning on sourcing or you're done, maybe you're done. There's a lot of people that are done. So if you're done and you don't have to do anything with sourcing, then you're perfectly fine. But if there is something that's related to sourcing, you need to write down in this brain dump, I got to do some sourcing. Okay. Okay. The next one is just giving you some ideas. So product research or keyword research or listing research. So again, are you going to be working your business? Do you already have your listings up, or do you still have yet to create listings? Do you have have you completed your product research, or do you still have yet to even get going on your product research, listing research, keyword research? So if you're going to be doing any level of product research or keyword research, that goes in your brain dump. This is something I'm going to be doing over the next 9 days. Okay. Number 3 is listings. So are you creating your own listings? Are you using some listing software? Is somebody else creating your listings? Maybe you've outsourced it to a VA and your job is to audit the listings that were created. What is happening with the listings? Are you going to go ahead and you've maybe created drafts of all your listings before, so you just have to release them so that way you spend time with your family? Again, balancing this out. I really want you to think through. We're just doing a brain dump. We're not saying which day and what time we're doing these things yet. We're just dumping the brain, okay? So listing requires, photos and descriptions and prices. And are you going to be doing any cross listing? And do you have cross listing software? How are you going to manage your cross listings? Because you got a lot going out there. Are you going to be running your listings through Pingler or Ping Farm? Are you creating any videos, even if they're TikTok type or Instagram Reels type videos for any of these products that you're going to be listing? Again, just doing a brain dump. Got to create some videos. Got to do this. Got to do that. Now, this brain dump may make you feel a little overwhelmed. We're going to organize it. So don't fret yet. Just keep dumping the brain. These are things that you intend to do, or you already had an idea that you were going to go ahead and do them, or you already knew you were going to go ahead and do them. That's what we're doing. We're just doing a brain dump of things that we know we're going to engage in and we're going to be doing. Okay. Shipping. How are you going to be handling shipping over the next 9 days? Now, I keep saying 9 days because typically we're planning for the week, but 9 days, we're incorporating maybe some activity that you might be thinking about today that you hadn't really thought about, some activity on Sunday and all of next week and even into Sunday of next week. Now, you probably get to expand it to 10 days because then you got Cyber Monday on the back end of that. So you can decide, whether or not you want to focus on 9 days or 10 days. But in any case, what's your shipping? And did you already get your shipping supplies? Again, if you're at last minute, you got to make sure you have some shipping supplies. The great thing about USPS is that if you roll up to most of your post offices or some of your post offices, they already got boxes lined up for people just to come in, pick up the boxes and leave, meaning get your supplies, your shipping supplies. Sometimes you can get them for absolutely free. So again, what is your plan for shipping? If you haven't thought about it, just write down that I know I got to do some shipping. Okay. Whether you're shipping it to a fulfillment center, you're shipping it to your own 3PL, or whether you're shipping it directly to the customer yourself, or if you're not touching any shipping and you're just verifying or validating that shipping has gone out. Maybe you do drop shipping, maybe you're doing print on demand, so you're hands off. You just need to confirm or validate that the shipping did actually happen. Okay. That's an activity that you need to think about. All right. Administrative activities. Typically, I would go through a myriad of administrative activities in your business that you should be considering. But my guess is that, like most of us, during this window, you can just be refreshing that Amazon seller app. You're going to be checking to see if you got a sale. You're going to be checking to see if you got to do a shipment. Or you're going to be refreshing your eBay app or whatever apps you're using. And you're just going to be checking to see, what do I got to do next? So from an administrative standpoint, you might be checking your daily sales, and that may be the only thing that you're doing over the next 9 or 10 days. Typically, there's a longer list of things that you got to consider, like, account reconciliation, auditing your inventory, analyzing your data, reviewing your results. So doing price adjustments. So I will say, from an administrative standpoint, there might be 2 or 3 things that you will do over the next couple of days. Maybe not. Again, I don't know your method of e-commerce. So you might be doing some price adjusting, or you may just be using the apps that are out there to help you with adjusting your prices. That's one thing. So maybe you invest some time today or tomorrow. And we're not saying, so I just said it's a specific day. We don't have to say it's today or tomorrow. We're just going to do a brain dump that some price adjusting has to happen. Okay. And maybe you're going to review your inventory so you know where you stand from a baseline standpoint. So if you need to run out and get some more inventory for specific things that you feel like are going to fly off the shelf, or maybe people have already cleaned out your inventory, you got to go restock. Again, reviewing your inventory levels, probably something you're going to be doing on a regular basis over the next 9-10 days. Just putting it out there. Okay. You probably will be, if you didn't already establish a budget, you probably should have some level of a budget. Again, I would encourage you to go back and look at all the Black Friday prep stuff. We already talked about budgets in there, but you're going to have to see where you are in your budget So I'm not necessarily saying you're doing a budget reconciliation, but you do have to monitor your numbers. So you got to monitor your sales. You got to monitor how much money you're spending to get this inventory and how much money you have left, and to also be able to still do shipments. Because again, you're paying for this stuff until they release your money, depending on which platform you sell on. Okay. So there's some administrative activities as a seller. Just do a brain dump of what those are that you think you will engage in the next 9 to 10 days. All right. Next is customer service. There's going to be customer inquiries. They're probably going to come in fast and furious because sometimes sellers just don't read. They see a pretty picture. They say, "Ooh, I want that," or "That'd be great for my niece," or "My dog would appreciate that," or "Grandma would love that." And they just click on from their mobile device to buy, or they click on, they're about to buy, and they're like, "Oh, I got a question real quick. Contact seller." And then they don't even read the listing and they just contact you for random questions. Just know that your number of questions or inquiries are probably going to go up during this window. And you just need to have a process to handle that. So again, handling customer questions, you're going to have returns and refunds. Believe it or not, you're going to maybe, depending on what your volume of inventory that you have and number of listings you have, there's a possibility you have returns same day. So quick tip, just saying this, wait at least 6 to potentially 8 hours before fulfilling an order. Okay. Because then those people, if they find a better deal or they have buyer's remorse, they're going to cancel. And then you're going to be pissed off because you shipped it immediately. Let's say they bought it and 2 hours later you shipped it. Well, it's too late, Bob. It's gone. So wait at least 6 to 8 hours so they can get past that window of buyer's remorse, and or, people are like, I found a better deal. So definitely wait before you ship it to a customer. And that will minimize the number of orders that are stuck out there in the universe, and you have to go demand that you get it back because the person canceled and you'd already shipped it. So that's just a tip that you really should follow. But what's your game plan? So start, that's one of the things you're probably going to be looking at over the next 9-10 days. Education, I'm not going to say you're going to be doing any level of learning anything new. But you might. I mean, there's probably something that you do want to learn, better understand. Maybe you have access to the software for repricing, or maybe you have access to the software for listing, but you never invested the time to figure out how to create these listings. And so now you got to do a crash course. If that's your situation, write it down, that you got to learn how to use some software, and so that way we can figure out where strategically we're going to do that activity. And then last but not least, traffic and marketing related activities. This is sort of, sending your listings through Pingler or Ping Farm so you can get some more traffic. Sharing your listings across social media, doing paid ads, campaigns, email marketing, video marketing, if there's any level of you going to do these activities, revisiting your listings, reworking your listings to optimize your listings. All of this stuff, promotional stuff, ads, sales, deals, flash deals, 2 for 1, all of that stuff. Okay. So did you already have a game plan? Did you already put together a game plan? Or these things that it's an afterthought and you're like, okay, I'm just going to put it down, but these are some of the things I'm doing. Now, if you're really not going to do these things, don't write it down. I am giving you a lot of things to consider. And this is unfortunately just the tip of the iceberg. So clearly I've done this a few times. There are so many things that I didn't list, but my point is I need you to think through what it is you are going to be doing over the next 9-10 days that's realistic for you and your life and the things that you're going to be having happen in your life over the next couple of days. So I'm going to give you an example. This is real. This is real. My son, who is autistic, who is now 15, about to be 16, is going to be doing a neuropsych eval. Yeah. Because at some point, I have to gain guardianship over my child before he turns 18. So I've got to go through this exercise. That is smack dab in the middle of this whole Black Friday prep for me. So I have to account for that time because that's something that cannot be moved. Okay. That is a real world scenario for me. And that's going to take up anywhere from 3 to 5 hours of potentially low productivity time. Now, I say low productivity versus no productivity because of the fact that I can sit in that doctor's office, and if I've already created draft listings of stuff from my mobile device, as long as my phone is charged and I've got a power pack, I can work on listings from my phone while they're doing the eval with my son. Okay. So I can be busy. Will I be busy the entire 3 to 5 hours? No, probably at least 2. So in my estimation, I can say I can spend time on my business at least 2 hours out of that 3, or at least maybe 3 hours out of the 5, depending, because it's supposed to be, she said, account for maybe 3 hours. And I just put a buffer of 4 because I got to do drive time and all that other stuff. So my point is, I won't be as productive as I would have liked to have been. Maybe you have a scenario like that where the only time that you can get something done, maybe it's outpatient surgery, or maybe you've got to go check on some seniors in a nursing home, or whatever case may be. Maybe you're committed to your church going to see seniors that are in the nursing home during this window, which is something we used to do, is we used to take meals. So that's committed time. I believe that those things that either are obligations that you really need to keep, or things that add value or contribute positively to your life, you need to figure out how to incorporate that into a realistic schedule. Okay. So think about anything that is unique, different, special. In addition to that, I got my business partner and my best friend. We're getting together and we're going to go do some fun stuff with our big giant boys. Because they are no longer little. So we're going to do some holiday stuff. And we're going to spend some hours doing that. But strategically, we're both bringing our laptops, we're both bringing our phones, and we know that we're going to have some pockets of time in which we can work on our business. If you don't know my backstory, like, that was the thing. I always used to run my business in the pockets. I call that running. Like, I used to do that all the time. My kids would go to speech, OT, ABA, because most of my kids are on the spectrum. And so while they were in speech and OT, occupational therapy is what OT is, I would sit in the car with my laptop. I would turn on a timer on my phone and I would work my business, use my hotspot at my laptop while they were in the facility. So I always worked my business in the pockets. I'm used to that. I'm conditioned to do that. So whenever I have pockets of time, whether it's going to go get my oil change or get my tires changed, I find windows to knock some stuff out. Estimate how long it's going to take to do whatever. So if they say it's going to take an hour or 45 minutes to change my tires, I know I probably got 30 minutes that I can do a quick 30-minute job and get it done. Whatever get it done is. Okay. I know I don't get that full window. I never account for the full window because I know I'm going to get some smaller version. You got to fill out forms. You got to do this. We got questions. They're going to interrupt you for something. So I would always account for that time because that's time that I could be working in my business. So I look for opportunities to work in my business, not avoid and say, okay, I'm just going to sit here and read this magazine. So that's how I operate. I've operated that way since 2014. I think is when I started my e-commerce journey. So I need you to think about what's happening in your life next week. And what are the things that you really wanted to get done or need to get done in your business? And then I also want you to do that same brain dump for things, and they use the next column, that you needed to get done in your life. Do you still have to do your grocery shopping for Thanksgiving? Or are you going to do your grocery shopping for Thanksgiving? Do you need to place your order because you're going to order out for the restaurant or grocery store? Do you still have, whatever it happens to be? Are you committed to something for the church? Are your kids going to have some kind of church, some Thanksgiving play or dinner, or the scouts are going to be getting together for something? Like, is there an obligation that you are committed to that you can't avoid next week? Let's do a brain dump of those things, or that is extremely important and adds value to your life. So incorporate those things as well. God gives us 24 hours in the day. Of those 24 hours, we are more than likely alive 16 to 18 of those hours. So what are you doing with your 16 to 18? So after you kind of close your eyes and think about all the things that are happening, go and look at your online calendar of what's coming up, and let's just do a brain dump so that you can account for times in which you will not be able to work in your business whatsoever, because life is happening. Okay. So once you have done that, you've got probably two columns. You've got business related column, which is it starts with column A, and then column B. In column B, we have, or maybe not column B, because we need column B and C open. So we're going to go all the way to column D. Column D is all of the stuff that is life related, personal related, family related, all of that. So put your personal related stuff in column C or D as in dog, sorry. D as in dog. All the personal related stuff, all the family related stuff, all of the life related stuff. I mean, people who get allergy shots still got to go get allergy shots next week. That's just something that's part of their schedule, their routine. So what's happening with you next week? A lot of places, I will tell you, like being able to schedule doctor's appointments and dentist appointments the week of Thanksgiving is actually a great strategic move because of the fact that most of the doctor's offices and dentist offices, their patients don't want to schedule anything that week. And so that means you can get almost everything you need to get done during that week. There's a lot of stuff you can get done the week of Thanksgiving because, again, people are going on vacations or spending time with family. So squeeze in the things you got to get done. Maybe you have something that has to be done by the end of the year, like me, that I had to get the neuropsych eval for my son done. I didn't have a choice. So my point is, you have a column A and you have a column D as in dog. Now that you've done this brain dump, we're going to use column B as in boy and column C as in cat to start putting together some preliminary idea of which days of the week these activities are going to happen and maybe around what time. Now, we don't have to be hard and fast about the time. We can say maybe these are things we're doing in the morning, these are things we're doing in the afternoon, these are the things we're doing in the evening, so that you have a window in which these things are happening. Same thing with the column that's next to that. The column that's next to that, which is in column D, you have all of your life and personal related things. So in column E as in Edward and F as in Frank, we're going to put down maybe around which day these things might be happening. And we're also going to put around what time of day. That's it. Okay. So that is sort of taking that brain dump and sort of semi-organizing it just a little bit. Once you have filled in which day and times or time of day that these things might be happening in those columns, so you're filling in column E and F, and you're filling in column B and C, then the next thing we're going to do is at the bottom of our lovely spreadsheet, or maybe on the next page of our notebook, we are going to go ahead and start organizing each one of those days. Each one of those days. Now, because it is the week of Thanksgiving, I would encourage you to at least add a potential 15-minute buffer between activities. Typically, I only do a 5-minute buffer between activities under normal circumstances, but because it's the week of Thanksgiving, there's some stuff that may not go the way I want it to, some random stuff that's going to happen. So when I use the example of I've got to go do a neuropsych eval, they told me the eval is going to be around 3 hours. I know it's going to take me at least 45 minutes to get there, 45 minutes to get back. That's another hour and a half that I'm going to add to that 3 hours. That hour and a half puts me at 4.5 hours. So I might as well just round it up to 5 just in case. So rounding it up to 5 hours, I'm adding an extra 30 minutes. That's 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after, just in case something goes left of center field. So that's my just in case buffer. Okay, so adding an extra 15 minutes gives me that cushion so that if things don't go as planned, I'm still good. I know I can't do anything with my business in my drive time, 45 minutes there, 45 minutes there, back. So that's time that I cannot work in my business. The only thing I can do is maybe have conference calls with my VAs while I'm driving. So I know that I got VA work to do next week. I can strategically coordinate those conversations in that drive. Or if I need to record video or audio so that my VAs can listen to it later because I have international VAs, then I can record that in that drive time from my phone because I have on my dash a phone mount. So I can record whatever it is I need to talk to them about or whatever work I need to have them do while I'm driving to the doctor's office. So that drive is not 100% wasted time. I'm using and working my business in the pockets. Now, maybe you're not as crazy as me. If you're not as crazy as me, then don't worry about it. If you just want to drive and focus, that's fine. But for me, I'm like, I'm trying to use as much of my time as possible because I know I'm not going to be as productive. When I think about my day, 16 to 18 hours, like I'm really doing a bunch of stuff 16 to 18 hours, my productivity is going to be diminished next week. So instead of being productive 16 to 18 hours, and that includes balancing family and life and business, I know that I'm probably only going to be as productive as maybe 12 hours. Because again, all of the unexpected buffer time that I've got to add to my life. So I need to figure out, how do I make the most of those 12 hours? Or how do I make the most of those 10 hours when I'm used to being productive 16 to 18? All right. So I want you to see that in your own schedule. Add some buffer time. If you know you got to go to the grocery store, you know people are just in the grocery store buying all their Thanksgiving stuff and simultaneously starting the process of buying their Christmas gifts. So that grocery store visit, maybe you had down maybe an hour. Well, let's just be realistic about it. It's probably going to be a 2-hour trip. So just write down 2 hours instead of whatever you would have normally written down. Okay. Going to go place an order for anything or go talk to anybody about anything, you just need to go ahead and add your 15-minute buffer before and after, because again, everything is not going to go as planned. So your productivity is going to be down, and you need to embrace that and be prepared for it. So as we are going through the process of kind of having a reality check and being honest and realistic with ourselves, knowing that we can't 100% be as productive as we typically would be on a non-holiday week, let's start building out our schedule. Let's talk about Saturday. What are you doing today? What's your plan for today? Now that you've kind of thought about what you're going to be planning in your business, maybe today you're going to be working in your business. Maybe you originally had planned 4 hours, but now Nicole gave you a whole bunch of other stuff to think about. So you're like, okay, I got these 6 other things I need to do. Each one of these 6 things are going to take me 30 minutes. So I am not going to be able to work in my business, 4 or 5 hours. Maybe I can only get to work on my business 2 hours. Think about that. If you're going to go do some sourcing, again, finding that window to get that done. So you can move around, I call it the pieces, figuring out what can I stack on top of something else because it's already either related or connected, or it's in my drive path. So if I am going today to go to a wholesale supplier or a liquidator, or if I know that I'm going to be picking up some inventory today, then is there something else that I can do at the same time that's going to maximize that trip and that journey? Maybe I need to go to the store anyway to get some aluminum foil or a tray to cook your turkey in. Okay. So in my drive path and in my drive time, as I'm going to the liquidator back and forth, I am going to stop at the grocery store and I'm going to put in there typically maybe like a 15-minute in and out, but that's not what's going to happen. I know what I need to get, and I know it's going to probably take me a little bit longer than I planned because of the fact of the line. So maybe it's a 30-minute stop and go versus a 15-minute stop and go. Okay. If you know what you need, get in, get out. Or if your kids have the ability to drive, maybe that's an errand that you pass off to them so you can reduce and manage your own personal sanity and stress. Okay. So again, look for opportunities where you can start consolidating, collapsing things that you can do simultaneously so that you can start marking stuff off the list and the list starts to look smaller. So what's your plan for this afternoon? What are you plan for this morning? Maybe this morning you're going to spend this time really rearranging the pieces of your schedule for the next 9 days. Maybe that's what you're going to do. And then the afternoon, you have intentions to go and maybe do your grocery shopping for Thanksgiving or place your order for your meal that you're just going to pick up and heat later on for Thanksgiving. Maybe this is the time in which you contact your family members and say, you know what? I love you guys. We're going to have to see you for Christmas. My schedule is way too tight, but we can have some Skype time for Thanksgiving or FaceTime or whatever. So figure out what you're going to do. Maybe you have the church obligations that I mentioned before. Again, you know what's on your list. I don't. So if maybe one of the things you've done every single year is you've delivered meals for Meals on Wheels, make sure you incorporate that into your schedule. All right. So looking at Saturday, looking at Sunday. Sunday, we go to church. It's on my schedule. I'm not moving that spot. That is committed, dedicated time, so it stays on the schedule. But what am I doing before church and what am I doing after church? So I'm going to make sure that I have things that I know I can do in my business that make the most sense. Again, if I've got to go out already, is there any places, if I'm still doing sourcing, that I can do before church or after church strategically to be able to maximize that drive time instead of going somewhere, coming back home, and then going back out again? You've wasted time. So let's do those things in that path. Sequencing, figuring out when strategically I can do these things. And what is it that I need? It's randomly going to the store and not knowing what you need. You should already be building that plan. So again, today, put together your plan. So then Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. So for us, what I did was strategically in my schedule, I put an hour worth of cooking today, an hour's worth of, and it's going to go in the freezer, hours worth of cooking on Sunday, hours worth of cooking on Monday, hours worth of cooking on Tuesday, hours worth of cooking on Wednesday. So I can continue to work in my business. I'm only taking an hour. So I can work in my business. And I already know what I'm cooking on each one of those days and how long those things are going to take to cook. And if it's something I stick in a crock pot and I can just come back and watch it, just stir it and then keep moving in my business. So again, figuring out strategically how you're going to organize that day. Then you've got Monday. So for me, Monday, I have activities around listings so that way I can focus 100% while I'm in those sessions on Tuesday with the therapist, that I can either rework listings. So I've already identified the listings on Monday. I've already created drafts of listings so I can start editing, working, reworking. I've installed the software on my phone so that I can do cross listing, whatever I need to do to maximize that window where I know I'm not going to be able to be in front of my computer and just work. So it doesn't become wasted time. It just becomes time that gets used differently. So I get to do two things at one time. Maybe again, you're not as crazy as I am, so you don't build a schedule around that. So your goal is to just move the pieces around, figure out what can I do. I've got a list of 50 things in column A, and I've got a list of 30 things in column B, and I got to figure out, some of these are going to be repetition. Some of these are going to be things you're going to be doing every single day. So you're going to put daily next to it. And when it says, when are you going to be doing these things? This is something I'm going to do every single day versus this is something I really only need to do on Thursday or something I really only need to do Wednesday. And then at what time window, maybe I'm going to do these things in the morning or afternoon, or I'm going to be specific that this is a hard and fast, this is the time in which this happens. So when I think about the life, church is on Sunday and it's at 9:00 and it's hard and fast and it doesn't move. Okay. Doctor's appointment is on Tuesday. It's got a certain time and it's hard and fast and it doesn't move. Versus other things that maybe have a little bit more flexibility that says I can get it done in the morning because of the fact that I'm already headed this direction for this thing. And if you're traveling, some of the things you got to think about before you travel is getting your tires checked, oil change, especially with the fact that it's cold in some parts, depending on where you're driving to. So these are things that you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, we're going to Nana's house and that's like a 6-hour drive. We really probably should get the tires checked and get the oil changed, get the fluids topped off. You got to make time for that. That's an activity, and that goes under the life column. Okay. So you start the process of organizing and you figure out which things are going to be repetition, something you're doing every single day. And the other thing is I want you to think about how much time are you really wanting to commit to your business every day? How much time are you wanting to commit to your business every day? If you're saying, okay, my goal is Monday, 6 hours in my business, Tuesday, at least 2 hours in my business, Wednesday, 6 hours in my business, Thursday, 6 hours in my business, Friday, 8 hours in my business. Then again, what are all the things that you're sacrificing in order to make that happen? And when you say you're going to be spending 6 hours in your business, what are you specifically doing? So of those 6 hours, break it down. I'm going to spend at least 1 hour on listings, 1 hour on shipping or ship auditing or whatever, 1 hour on going through the process of maybe acquiring new inventory, so sourcing or product research to find more inventory, or maybe you're creating bundles, so you got to do bundle opportunities. I'm going to spend at least 1 hour checking my stats, so it's really not dedicated solid time. Maybe it's like every hour I'm just checking to see where I am on different things, or I'm setting up notifications so that way I can get notified when my inventory levels hit a certain point, that kind of stuff. So what am I doing with that time? You got to figure out what is your commitment. Definitely make sure that you're spending the most amount of time on the income producing activities, which is creating listings. Okay. And then the second income producing or income retaining activity is getting the shipments out to your customers. Okay. The income retaining activity is you got to make sure either that you're confirming that the shipments went out, or you're checking to make sure the shipments went out, or you're shipping it yourself, and that you're creating new listings, cross listings, sending the listings across. So figure out how you're going to break down that time. If it's something where you're only going to be able to work 2 hours every single day, then what is it that you're actually going to do in that 2 hour window based on the stuff that you put in the business? Okay. So you're organizing your week and you're building a draft schedule. And you need to be as specific and detailed as possible on those draft activities. From 9 to 10, I'm doing this. From 10 to 11, I'm doing this. From 11 to 12, I'm doing this. Or in the morning, I'm doing these 5 activities. In the afternoon, I'm doing these 3 activities, because these are big chunked, long duration activities. And I know I got to be out to go see Billy's little Thanksgiving turkey play, and we got to go by the pumpkin patch to pick up a pumpkin for my little nephew so and so. Like, again, this is life, so you're going to incorporate this into your life. And then in the evening, when everybody is sort of settled down or people are watching TV, I'm going to focus on my business for 4 hours here. Again, what are you doing? When are you doing it? Blah, blah, blah. And also put some blocks of time where you are making those phone calls to family and friends for the holidays. If you know that Aunt TT talks really long, don't put down 30 minutes unless you're going to set a timer and let her know, hey, I got a pie in the oven, or I got a so-and-so in the oven. And so I just wanted to chat with you real quick. And, she's going to run over and be like, oh, you know what? My timer just went off. I got to let you go. I got to go check on this pie. Figure out strategically how you're going to play that game. Okay. All right. Know what your plan and your strategy is. If you're running ads, you got to get those things optimized right now and get those ads live so that they're ready to go for Friday. If you're doing email marketing, again, when are you doing your drafts of your emails so you can send them out to your customers? Because I can guarantee you on Black Friday, your customers' inboxes are going to be inundated and they're not going to be opening your stuff. So you got to be strategic about that in advance. So organizing that schedule and putting together something that makes sense for the next 9 days. Take into account that Saturday is Small Business Saturday. So again, you want to reach out to family and friends and tell them about your deals. You want to put some stuff on your social media wall, tell them about your deals or whatever specialized products that you're selling. And then that Monday is Cyber Monday. What are your Cyber Monday deals? What are your Black Friday deals? And knowing what they are, making sure you already have your graphics, making sure you already have your marketing videos, making sure you already have your scheduled posts, whatever that looks like. So again, there's going to be activities you're going to engage in. And maybe none of that applies to you based on your e-commerce method, and you don't have to worry about those things. So now that you've sort of taken all of this and you're going to build out this schedule, you're going to be as detailed as possible, put together some estimates, put buffer time in between those estimates, in between those activities, so that you can account for every time that you're going downstairs to check the crock pot or check the pie in the oven or whatever it is, because that's disruptive time. That's not focused, dedicated time. And then build your schedule. Now, you're going to probably build 2 drafts of it. The first one is going to be, you got to think about it, visualize it, be like, oh, that's not going to work out that way. So you probably rearrange some stuff, erase it. So I would probably start with, if you're writing this out, do it in pencil, or cut and paste if you're doing it in the Google Sheet. Once you have built out the schedule and you feel pretty good about it, make sure that every morning that you're committing at least 10 to 15 minutes to go over the morning routine and the daily ecom planning checklist. Go through the morning routine so that way you can reassess whether or not the schedule is realistic and you need to make adjustments to it. Making adjustments to your schedule, there's nothing wrong with that. The goal is to get some stuff off the list. So if you had 20 things on the list and you're able to get through 12 of them, celebrate that. We're not going to harp on it. We're not going to be mad about it. We're going to do the best that we can do, but we're also going to make sure we have some buffer time accounted in there. And if there's things that you are going to be doing over this next 9 days that don't serve your life well, do your best not to do those things. Do your best to avoid those things. Do your best to remove those things so that way you can maximize your productivity and your focus. Because if talking to Aunt Sally and it becomes religious or political or something that just like, oh my God, and it raises your blood pressure and changes your whole energy and your whole mood, sending Aunt Sally a text or an email or letting somebody else call Aunt Sally is probably the best thing to do. So with that, I hope this is a blessing to you. Go build out your draft of your schedule, read it, close your eyes, visualize it, walk through each day, and then rewrite it if you need to, and then be prepared to step into it this afternoon. Be prepared to actually begin the process of executing this schedule for the next 9 to 10 days so that way you can maximize your productivity, maximize your focus, maximize your plan for the next couple of days. So I hope this is a blessing to you. I hope that you use this to help you build an effective schedule. My name is Nicole Whitlock, and my passion is helping people on their e-commerce journey, helping them get focused, get organized, get consistent in their business. If that's you, I'm here for you. You can still schedule a 20-minute coaching session with me. And I pray that today you have an extremely focused, very productive, and highly profitable day. And with that, I will talk with you guys again on Monday. We're going to say goodbye for now. We're live on Clubhouse if you want to talk about your business. And talk to you later. Bye.